What's up, guys? This is TheKephas. So, I have not made nearly enough videos about Final Fantasy XIV, and that's just because of real-life constraints. You guys know all about that. But it's no secret at this point that I really do love Final Fantasy XIV. It's pretty much my favorite game nowadays, and the community is awesome. So, it really sucks to see the community go through what it's been going through for the past few days, week at this point maybe. Basically, there has been some turbulence, some controversy happening in the community, and it's surrounding a subject that I happen to be very interested in and have a lot of experience with, and that is the subject of modding. If you don't know, in Final Fantasy XIV, modding has always been against the terms of service. That's just something that they have made a stance on. We don't want you modding. The thing is, though, is they can't really tell if you are, because most mods work client side and they can't really tell that you're using them. So basically, as long as you don't say anything or show yourself using them, then there's nothing we're going to do to you. That's honestly basically how it works. So if you shut up, you won't get caught. It's pretty easy to not get caught, okay? Unfortunately, it's not easy enough for everybody because people got caught. A streamer got temporarily banned for streaming themselves using mods. So that led to a little bit of a controversy. There was a little bit of a conversation with the developers where they said the same thing they've always said. You know, don't make us enforce our rule. In other words, shut up, and it won't be a problem. But I wanted to give my thoughts on this topic because if you guys know me and you know my presence on YouTube, and honestly just my presence online, I have a long history with modding. The first, content that I ever provided on the internet was actually a segment for the Instance podcast with Scott Johnson. I did a end of show segment. It was like a minute-and-a-half segment, and it was called Mod Minute. And I would come on and I would talk about a mod of the week. I would highlight a mod in World of Warcraft and share that with everybody, and it helped a lot of people discover a lot of cool new mods, and I had a lot of people send me suggestions for cool mods, so it was really fun. I loved doing that. And then I moved over to YouTube, and then I started doing videos on macros, which required the use of a mod to enhance what macros could do and allow players to have more accessibility with the game. And that was a big thing I did in World of Warcraft. So if you haven't guessed, I love modding. I think that games benefit highly from modding. There are some pretty good arguments why Final Fantasy shouldn't have mods, but I'm going to give my opinions in a second. But let me explain, I guess, why I like modding and what got me into modding games. It actually started with World of Warcraft because most of my life I've been a console gamer, right? So with consoles, you really don't do a lot of modding. You might do some Game Shark way back in the day, maybe some cheat codes. That's about as far as it got, you know? But once I got into PC gaming, I played Diablo 2, never really thought about it, but, you know, in hindsight, it would have been nice to have some mods for Diablo 2, because trying to see the health bars when you're as visually impaired as I am is very difficult. It's something I experience now playing Diablo 2 Resurrected on the ladder. So yeah, but I'm not here to talk about Diablo 2. I will say this about World of Warcraft though. The biggest PC game that I ever got into, the first thing that I noticed was that I was having a hard time reading the font. And there's a lot of quest text, there's a lot of text in general, and I had a hard time reading any of it. I was getting really bad headaches, I was in college at the time, so I just looked online, is there a way to increase the font? And I discovered the Curse website, and I discovered a mod called Clear Font, and I quickly looked, is it okay to use this stuff? And yeah, actually Blizzard invites you to mod the game. I mean, there's an API for it, people do it all the time. And so I discovered modding in World of Warcraft. I used Clear Font to make the font better. I discovered other really cool mods. I can make my UI bigger, smaller, change how it looked, do all kinds of stuff. Because unlike Final Fantasy XIV, WoW didn't and really still doesn't have a lot of customization for the UI. No matter how much customization that you provide, in-house, no matter how much the developers allow you to customize, as a visually impaired person, as someone with a disability, you're never going to meet all the needs necessary to enable everyone to be able to play on an equal level. You're just not going to be able to. However, if you allow modding, such as the case of World of Warcraft, then people can do a lot more that you don't have the resources, time, or maybe even the awareness to come up with the ideas that people that mod can come up with. And so a lot of times modders can really carry a lot of the burden of a developer. I mean, I don't want to get banned. You know, I don't want to get banned. I just will say there are really cool mods for Final Fantasy XIV. A lot of very useful and some quality of life mods, and a lot of mods that would help me play the game and enjoy the game better. For example, there is a mod. Look, again, I don't want to get banned, but I'm just going to say it. There's a mod that is like a text-to-speech mod. So what it does is it reads the dialogue for you. There's a lot of dialogue in 14. 14 has a really good story. I've missed out a lot of times on the story because I can't read all the dialogue. And look, I know you can scale up the dialogue, like you can scale up all the UI, but when you're visually impaired like I am, it's still a strain to read for a long time or even for a little bit. So, you know, especially when you're playing a video game. So that text-to-speech would be invaluable if I were to use it, right? There are other mods that do other things that are very helpful. There's just all kinds of cool stuff. And then there's just some fun quality of life things that don't really have an impact on what you're doing in the game. So it's a little sad that Square Enix has taken this stance on no mods, right? A lot of people use mods. So they're out there, they just know not to talk about it. So yeah, I guess you can say that obviously my stance is pro mod. I think that it would be great if Square Enix would just kind of maybe look at their policy and maybe reconsider their stance on this. I mean, it's been the policy since the beginning. I don't know if they ever will, but I do think that I would encourage them to, because I think that it would allow for people to come up with quality of life improvements to their UI and other things, other aspects of the game that would enable me to be able to play it. It would become more accessible. And I know, like, one of the big arguments against it, and it's a pretty good one, is that, you know, where does that leave console players? They wouldn't have access to the modding, right? And that's true. It is an unfortunate side effect that console players would not be able to use mods. If there's something that can help people enjoy the game more, I think that's a positive, and I don't think that should be limited for a reason like that. I'm sorry, I just don't think so. I think that, you know, it's great to have the console. I love the console version. I actually have the game on PlayStation and I have it on PC, and I play it on both. And there are benefits to playing it on console that you don't have with PC. The portability of your console, playing it on your couch, you know, playing it on a bigger TV. You know, I guess it's like a pro and con thing. At the end of the day, I guess, like, I think the benefits would outweigh the negatives in that regard. Another thing is that people say, you know, if they allow mods, there are some mods already that pretty much would be requirement to do the in-game content, and that is something that I don't like. That's something that I don't like with World of Warcraft. I don't like that pretty much to raid you had to use deadly boss mods, and you had to have a damage meter, and I actually think that I enjoy the game a lot more without a damage meter, because that's not my thing. Now, for other people, it is their thing. They like to do big numbers. They like to do better and see themselves improve and see where they stack up with everybody else. And that's a big part of why some people like the game. Now, here's my thing, though, with that, is I don't think that a segment of the player base should limit everybody else. If you can help a bunch of people play the game, then I think that, again, that the pro outweighs the con. Now, on the other hand, I wouldn't want them to alter their game so much so that it would be more accessible for me if it made the game less enjoyable for everybody else. So that goes both ways. If there is a legitimate reason why modding would, like, destroy the game, which I don't think it would, then fair enough. One of my big principles as a gamer is I don't want to push the developers to make a game they don't want to make. If they are convinced with conviction that modding is not what we want in their game, then, you know, that's something they have to stand by, and I'm not going to push them against it. I'm going to encourage them to reconsider, but if that's their stance, then I respect that. I wish people would respect that with, like, FromSoft games. That they're hard, deal with it, and if you don't like it, don't play it. It's not that they're being non-inclusive. It's not like, I'm not going to sit here with a bad faith argument and say, it's just that Square Enix doesn't want the game to be more accessible for me. I don't believe that's it at all, and I think that's a bad faith argument. I do, however, think that if they would allow mods, it would provide the opportunity for people to come up with different ideas and different quality of life improvements for the UI and different aspects of the game that could make it more accessible for me and other people as well, because those types of mods already exist, right? So in general, I'm not going to sit here and say that Square Enix is wrong and they're a horrible company for not allowing mods. I do wish that they would, and I think that it would improve the game. It certainly would improve the game for me. It's a little silly that they have a rule that they can't enforce without people outing themselves. I was watching an Oversimplified's video on Prohibition.
I want you to think back for me, if you will, to the year 2005. You're the coolest kid around, and you convince your parents to rent the greatest movie of all time from your local Blockbuster. But the movie starts with a strange message, something about not downloading a car. You immediately disregard that and hop on Kazaa to download the greatest song of all time, and in the process, drain your dad's bank account with copious amounts of ransomware. You were breaking the law, you bad boy or girl, but did anyone come to arrest you? No. That's my point. If no one's enforcing a law, while everyone's breaking it, is it really a law?
That's kind of the thing here, is that you have a rule that you can't really enforce. Now, the thing that sucks though, and I guess like the other thing I want to talk about is just seeing the community's response on this is, I don't know, I hate saying cringe, but it is pretty cringe. I don't know why some people care so much. Like, I really don't. Like, I know there are some people that think that modding would be the death of the game and it would just kill it and it would make people so toxic, and so they try to stop it by being just as toxic as the people they're afraid would be toxic, right? You know, like, that's the thing, is like, why do you care how other people play the game? Like, if it doesn't affect you, then why do you care? Why do you care if people have a mod that uses chat bubbles or shows their gill in the bag instead of on an extra menu, which is really inconvenient, by the way? You know, why would you care? Why do you care if people use a damage meter? If they don't say anything to you or berate you about your DPS or whatever, which would not be okay, absolutely not, why do you care? How does it affect you? It doesn't. So I don't know why some people all of a sudden care, when most people didn't care a week ago, until it became an issue again. So yeah, some people were acting pretty cringe, acting like toddlers, like trying to go tattletale on everybody and be snitches, and it's just really sad. You know, it's the same with, like, you know, there's like a lot, you can do a lot of texture stuff with the game. Like, you can make the game more HD looking. Like, there are some texture improvements. There's some suggestive and lewd textures out there as well. But again, even if people were using that, like, who cares, right? Like, why would you care? Like, you don't see them. If someone uses a texture mod, only they see them, because it only affects their client. So if somebody, like, wants to see their character's boobies, like, why do you care? Who cares? Why does that matter to you at all? Like, why do you care? You know, and so that's like one of the things I guess I'm a little annoyed by, is like how much people are giving out about how other people play the game. It's honestly none of your business. Like, you worry about you. You know, if it comes your way, then sure, maybe say something. I guess, like, you know, like if you're playing PvP and there are some issues there with modding, say in Diablo, for example, say they allowed mods and there was a mod where you could have health bars above your player's head. That would be great for me. I would love that, because then I could see my health. Because in Diablo 2, you can only see your health on the bottom corners, and it's really hard for me to see. On the other hand, if they have a mod that's like Map Hack, where it just shows you where to go, or if they have a mod like, or a bot, you know, where it literally just, the computer plays the game for you, obviously that's not okay. That's cheating. So there's a difference between, like, improving the UI and maybe doing some things that just make the game more convenient, and then there's like outright cheating, where you're not playing the game or you're bypassing an entire segment of the game. And, you know, of course, there are some things that might be in the gray area on that one. I tend to be in more favor of the mods, as long as it's not like outright cheating. But at the end of the day, there's a difference between modding and cheating. I wish Square Enix would lighten up on this and maybe get rid of the don't ask, don't tell rule. Maybe even consider encouraging modding. I think one of the reasons why they don't want to is because they don't want to have to sift through the mods and say, yeah, this one's okay, no, this one's not okay. And I guess I kind of understand that. You're only going to be able to do so much yourselves when it comes to UI improvements and accessibility. Opening that option up for the community to do great things would be awesome. And it would help you come up with new ideas, because you already know that they see some of the mods and they think, yeah, that would be good to put in the game. So already mods, whether you like it or not, have helped the game, helped improve the UI, given them some ideas. So that's already happening. Maybe sell a few more of them mounts and then hire a mod police or something, I don't know. But yeah, anyways, you guys, that's my take on it. You know, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this in the comments below. Again, let there be mods, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is TheKephas. Until next time.